Yo, welcome back to the channel, and guess what? It has only taken a year and a half, but I am back on the Mini now. I'm sure quite a lot of you have forgotten exactly where we got to on the Mini, but in the last video back in December 2024, I was at the point where I was kind of getting to finishing off the back end. In this video, we're actually going to finish off the back end, so I'm going to focus on the last bit of the welding and eventually getting it into primer and also maybe even seam sealed so we're ready for final paint on that boot. Now, if I can do that, that will mean that's a massive tick off of my list in where I need to be psychologically on this Mini. So let's just jump into this video right now and see how I've got on. Anyone that's ever come back to a project after a prolonged period of absence will know how hard it is knowing where to start. I originally thought this week would be about taking apart the front of the Mini, dropping the front subframe, engine and gearbox and starting to do more welding. What I realized was that I needed to tie up that rear that I'd been working on. So even though I'd started taking things apart up the front, I chose to put those tools down and refocus on fixing the rear. I'm starting to remind myself kind of the process of getting the welding done, and in my head when I walked down here tonight, I was going to get the whole back end on and it would be done. But as always, these things take a lot of time. So tonight we've got that rear valance fitted. We've got a couple of the other small bits of dressing panels done for the back of the arches fitted. I've drilled the holes for where my rear bumper's going to go and made sure everything lines up. So I'm taking my time just measuring, making sure the holes are good, and I'm feeling a lot better about it. As always, I've run out of time, but I'm going to leave it for tonight. We are flying in the workshop. There's a lot of other things been going on. But yeah, good to pick up the tools, get this ready, and tomorrow, get on with the welding. One thing I'll point out is the last thing I actually did before I gave up on the Mini for a year and a half was fitting the rear subframe. So before I could carry on with the rear boot area of this Mini, I just needed to remove that. Having it fitted meant that I knew all of my bolt holes lined up, which was a massive relief after doing all that welding for months. So just a quick one on the rear subframe. As I say, dry mounted about a year and a half ago and everything fitted. But the big challenge was with the rear of this Mini, we'd lost half of our guidance points. There are 8 bolts that essentially hold on your rear subframe. And if they rot out or you lose them or someone's fiberglassed over them because they thought that would be easier than actually fixing it, what happens is you have to take a lot of risks and a lot of measurements to get everything lined up just right. So here we're looking at what is essentially the front of the rear subframe. This attaches to our heel board. So we've got 2 bolts, we've got to get that distance right. And then on top of that, we've got another 4 bolts at the back, 2 on each corner, and they come through that boot floor and they have to attach as well. And this is what I mean about the risk. If any of those hadn't matched up, all of that work would have needed redoing, rejigging, remeasuring. But luckily, somehow, through a lot of paranoia, I managed to get them right first time. Now, these little finicky side parts go between your valance and your rear attachments for your subframe. They are important, they do add structure, and they also stop mud getting flung up into your rear valance and rotting out your Mini as quick as possible. So here I'm just punching holes, removing paint from both the parts and the boot floor, ready for welding the next day. Once that was done, I got the vice grips out and did one final last dry fit, knowing I was ready to hit the welder the next morning. So yesterday was the first real day that I had a go at welding in probably, the last time I welded must have been back in December 2024. So long time. Thought it would be an easy thing to do. And actually the welding itself isn't that hard to remember. You can jump straight back into it, but it's the process. It's understanding that when we put these panels up to the Mini, again, I've got to go over every edge and get that back to bare metal for welding. I've got to make sure it's offered up correctly. We've got to get our clamps on there as well to make sure everything is lined up nicely, because that's the thing. If I get that wrong, the back end of this is going to be a nightmare. Anyway, back end is now lined up correctly. We've got the rear valance on. What I also noticed in this corner is that we've still got rust here. So I've done a tiny little patch in one corner. I've got 2 more little patches to go, and I'm basically giving myself the goal of getting this welded up and finished on the back end so we can then come back, get this all scuffed up and get some primer on it. And then mentally, that's out of my head and the job is done. So first thing today, start templating up for some very small repair sections, get that done, and then get all this back end welded up. Let's do it. So yeah, you can see that's pretty rusty and bubbled in there. Took that off there. Before I finished taking it off, I masked it up, and what that's done is it's given me the template so I can pull that off and put it on my new material. The great thing about the English roller has meant that I can carry on working that curve. And now when I pop this on here, I can turn this and find exactly where that convex shape works with the metal that I've rolled. So I'm going to cut that out. It's now pre-stretched, which is nice. And hopefully that will mean when we come to actually welding it on here, it's a little bit easier. This is an English wheel, and you can buy cheap reproductions of these on Amazon, but this is an original F.J. Edwards Besco. I think this is anywhere between 1930s and 1950s. And to give you just a tiny bit of background about why these are so important from like a car building, coach building point of view, is this is how cars and body panels were created before parts were machine stamped, which is much, much more modern. In terms of how I'm going to use this in the workshop, we're doing it at the moment. We're creating compound curves. Essentially what these 2 wheels do is you put a bit of metal in there, and as you roll it, that stretches that metal into the curve that you need. And you can change the direction to create a curve in different directions. I've always wanted to have a go on one. To be able to do it on this project, I just feel blessed that someone's trusted me with a piece of history like this. This has been lent to me by Ian, that actually owns this whole space that I'm standing in at the moment. And really excited to see what else we can do with this. But yeah, English wheel. Been going since the turn of the century, and now we've got one here at Rookie Restorations. Oh, and if you get a chance, please subscribe and support the channel. On a side note, I decided that this workshop, even though it is a great space, I wasn't utilizing it well enough. I'd started putting loads of stuff in boxes, and that kind of slows down the creative process. Whereas now, I ordered these shelves online. They were super, super cheap, but they've absolutely nailed me being able to come in here and get on with the job that I want to do. Now, when I walk in, I know where my paints are. I know where all my other products are. I know where my car working stuff is. I know where my tools are, my power tools, my spray paints. It just doesn't make me feel like quitting before I've started, because everything's organized. And I think from a project point of view, that is super important. Oh, actually, let me show you another toy that I've bought for the workshop. I should probably be outsourcing this, but hey, it's another skill I can learn, and I'm going to enjoy it. So this is my industrial Seco sewing machine. Now, I've probably had a hankering for wanting to be a tailor or sew since I was 15 or 16, back when I was doing D&T class and I started making some things. That never materialized, but as I've done these projects with the cars, the amount of times I've thought how cool it would be to start learning how to do upholstery, door cards, carpets. It will be an amazing skill. Like a lot of things, I've promised myself I'm not going to jump on this straight away, but it's now in the workshop, ready to go. And this beast is absolutely capable of doing everything that I want to. I might even see about jumping on a course and learning a little bit more about it. So if you know anyone that does upholstery courses, let me know. But this is another new toy. We are finally on putting some products on our metal, a stage I never thought I would get to. And one of the first things that we're putting on this car is etch primer. Now, etch primer has acid in it, and the reason for that is it bites into bare metal. So where we've been welding and grinding and everything is back to bare metal, you need to get etch primer on there to start with. Now, this is a super cheap one. This is a 1K product, which means it's literally a rattle can that we just spray on. It's great for DIY, but it's also really good for corrosion resistance and corrosion protection. So etch primer for bare metal. You can go more expensive. You can get a 2K, and 2K basically means 2 components, with the second component being hardener. But we're not doing that. Easy use, rattle can, super easy to do, done. Our second wonder product is seam sealer, which is on all cars and has been for a long time. What this essentially does is what it says on the tin. It seals seams. So anywhere where we've welded 2 panels together, anywhere where we might have a gully that water would get into, we're going to use this to treat all of those edges to completely seal up our rear boot. We'll be doing the rest of the car with this as well, but for now, rear boot, after etch primer, get our seam sealer on. One trick that I'm going to use is I'm going to switch all the lights off in here and shine a light up underneath the car. And what that will let me see is if there are any little pinpricks or any little areas of light in my boot space, this will cover it up. Yes, welds should be absolutely everywhere and absolutely perfect, but mistakes happen. And if there are any little pinpricks, this will get it sealed. It's hard to remember just how bad this car was when I started stripping it apart. Started to pull that boot apart and just finding holes, fiberglass, patches on top of patches. I remember taking out the rear boot and sitting in there and just thinking how much of a massive project just the back end of this Mini was going to be. But perseverance and months of welding and carefully taking this apart and putting it back together has brought me to a place that I'm starting to feel really proud of. So one thing I kind of found myself getting frustrated about this week whilst I've been finishing off the back end is that there was some quite untidy metal. And what I mean by that is we've got our boot floor, our valance, and our shell. So essentially there's 3 layers of metal that we've had to line up, we've had to get these holes right, and it was looking really, really messy. What I've realized is a grinder is your friend. We didn't need all those edges. I've tack welded the front here. And then what I've done is I've just taken a lovely neat line all the way through that. And to be honest, it's going to disappear under my rear bumper. But in my head, I know I've now got a nice tidy edge. It's sealed up, it's welded, and it makes that end of the Mini structurally nice and rigid, and I'm feeling happier. Well, it's been a week and I'm back on the Mini, and I feel like I'm getting my mojo back for my projects, which has been a long time coming, but I feel great. We're finally at a point with the back end of this Mini where after tonight, it will be seam sealed and primed. I'll probably come in over the weekend and give it one final coat of primer. over the top of that seam seal, but that means the back of this Mini is done and ready for paint, which is insane. Who knew I'd get here? If you followed me from the beginning of this build, you might remember how bad the back of the Mini was, and essentially it was more holes than metal. What would I say to anyone wanting to take on a project like this? I think what I'm learning at the moment is that we're DIYers, we're rookies. And that means that we need to take that into consideration when we're building these projects. Too often you can kind of get lost in trying to make something perfect, and perfect comes from making mistakes and building these cars, and slowly over time you build these skills. But if, like me, this is the first time that you're building your own project, don't try and get everything perfect. Get it safe, get it mechanically right. Maybe that paint will run, maybe you'll blow some of those welds, but at the end of the day, get it on the road. That's how I'm going to really attack this project moving forwards. I'm going to look to see if I can keep the engine and the gearbox in the front and get that front of that car where we've lost the toe board a bit from the crash and kind of get it straight whilst it's together. If I can't, then fair enough. We'll get that engine out and we'll attack the toe board. And also I've got all that floor to do. But the aim is now to get this running and driving, because we're not building concours. We're building for pleasure and we're building to enjoy these cars. And I think somewhere along the line, I lost that. And that's the danger that we face when we get into these projects. Sometimes good enough is just that, it's good enough, and it means we can enjoy these rides. For now, I'm gonna get that seam sealer on, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye guys.